very important, guys. So under size classes, they talk about different device size. So different device size classes. So different size class can be applied to full screen experience of different devices based on the screen size. So for example, this can be considered, I'm just giving example depending on the form factor. This can be like a regular width, regular height. In other words, uh, word, so let's put in the same context. So compact height, and so vertical, right? So vertical. So when I say vertical, if I'm applying that word to here, vertical and horizontal. So the vertical size class and the horizontal size class. So in this case, the horizontal size class is regular and the vertical size class is also regular, right? If I put it in the same context, right? Vertical size class, compact, regular. So moving forward, I can even call, like for example, here the horizontal size class is compact, for example, but the vertical size class towards downwards is regular. I'm giving example. But again, it depends on the form factor as well, right? Then the iPad on, let us say the iPad on landscape, once again, the horizontal size class can be considered regular and the vertical size class regular. Then the iPhone on, let us say, landscape. Now, when the iPhone was on portrait direction just here, then it's the horizontal size class is compact. But now the horizontal size class is regular because there's more space in this orientation. So hope you are getting this explanation. So then for so some of the popular devices, right? It shows what is a portrait size class and landscape. For example, it says iPad 12.9 iPad has, in the portrait direction, it says regular width, regular height. Landscape also regular width, regular height. Just so it's already defined, right? The size classes based on the form factors and the device is already defined. So as developers, what you have to tackle is these four different size classes is what you have to tackle if you want your app to be adaptive, right? But keep in mind, this size classes comes under traits. So the so this is one option. What's the previous option? Just recall what I said. The previous option is without you looking into any of this. You remember what I was talking earlier. What was it? The first option? What's it, guys? Auto layout. Great, awesome. Auto layout, right? So auto layout, in when you deal with auto layout, you don't have to think a lot about the size classes. But when you start uh, um, if there are certain things when you start using auto layout, and if you can't manage everything with auto layout, if you can't do all what you want, then you look into touching these traits and the trait variations. In that, then you will have to deal with size classes. So the idea is, when you do adaptive user interfaces, some of your tasks can be done with auto layout, right? And some can be done, some cannot be done with auto layout. In that case, then you go into your second option using trait variations, right? Traits. There you deal with size classes. But before that, there's another important thing to keep in mind. When you read this Apple developer documents, you will see it's recommending even before these two approaches, meaning even before the auto layout and the trait variations, it's recommending, you will see in a little while, to use stack views. So the recommendation is, first try to use stack views and put your components into stack views. We will see it in a little while. We will do practicals also. That is the first option they say. Try to do it using stack views, because the stack view will have some auto adjustments, and put your components into a stack view. Let's see what's a stack view in a little while, but just assume there's a stack view. You put everything into a stack view, and then you just put you adjust the properties of the stack view, right? And then you constrain only the edges of the stack view, right? Not all. So you don't have to constrain, or you don't have to apply this auto layout or size class or whatever it is into all the components. Such as, let us say you have a, okay, let me give a classic example. Let us say in your app you have a data entry form, like say to enter employee details or something like that. So in this form, there will be a label, for the heading, and there will be a couple of labels to say employee number, employee name, address, salary. I'm giving example, and then couple of text boxes. So the text boxes to enter the employee number, name, salary, and then couple of buttons, right? Now, if I count them, let us say there's one label for the heading, four labels for the descriptions of each item, then another four text fields, and say four buttons. So altogether, four buttons, four text boxes, four labels, 12, and the heading label 13. So there are 13 components. So now you have two options. You can start constraining or giving the constraints, right? Constraints means rules for this layout, right? For this adaptiveness for all 13 components, right? One by one, right? That is one option, right? To give these constraints. What are constraints? You saw at the beginning of this lecture. If you can't figure it out, again listen to this from the beginning. Constraints are rules, so you have to specify the rules. So when the environment changes, the system can apply your rules. So are you going to give rules for 13 objects, or can you do it? Can you specify the rules only for one object? Yes, there's a way. That is what I was telling a little while ago. So that is done with stack view. So what you do is all that 13 components you add first to a stack view, and you first change some properties of the stack view to look after how the look and feel. It's minor property changes. And then the beauty of the story is you just constrain or give the rules only for the stack view. Say the left with from the left of the stack view towards the end of the device, the width, or let us say let's say the from the top of the device, the gap to the stack view, and then the stack view to be centered. So you give only two constraints to the stack view. What are the two constraints? Okay, the how many points the stack view from the top. Say if there's a top label or top image, banner image, from the banner image, how many pixels down you want the stack view to appear, right? Something like that. And then that's one constraint. Then the second constraint is you will say, okay, I want the stack view to be centered always. Simple. So that all the text fields and everything will have their intrinsic values and all sorts of, don't worry about that. So only two constraints. So instead of giving constraints for 13 components, you now give constraint only for one component, and that constraint is only also two constraints. And when you say that, when you say, okay, maintain 10 points below the image and make it center, what will happen is when you run this on iPhone, it will maintain 10 points a gap from the say banner image or whatever it is, and it will come center on the screen. And when you run it on an iPad, or sorry, if you change the orientation into landscape, same, it maintains 10 points and center. Then if you run this on an iPad, same, it maintains 10 points from the top to the stack view and center. So that's the beauty of it. So the advice from in the developer guide is as much as possible, try to use stack views first. If you can't do it using stack views, then the second possibility is look into auto layout. Of course, the stack view also will have only the stack view you will be constraining with auto layout, right? Because the stack view will have to be constrained like say 10 pixels, 10 points from the top and center. But that's only for the stack view. Then if you can't do it, then you forget about stack views and you put your components freely without using a stack view, and then you constrain the components, and then you start first trying using auto layout if to see whether it can be done. If it can be done, then you are happy with auto layout. For some reason, if you can't do it completely with auto layout, then only you go and touch the trait system or the trait the trait variations, right? So those are the three steps you will be gradually taking, right? Hope it's clear to you. So first option is stack views. If you can do it, stop from that. Don't go and apply all say the rest of the auto layout and the trait system. If you can't do it in stack views, then you go for second step and try to apply the auto layout stuff and do things. If that's also not possible, then you go and deal with the trait system. Hope that's clear. Now guys, you are learning a lot of things and you are making a lot of things clear, right? So I think that's a pretty awesome thing you learn. And then the devices are put into different categories, right? Let's see if something interesting is here. Okay, so see, it says iPhone 6 Plus on the on the compact, sorry, on the portrait and the landscape. iPhone 6 Plus, it says on the portrait it's compact width, of course it's clear, and regular height. But in landscape it says regular width and compact height, so it considered it to be on a compact height. Let's see, right? Let's see, let's see, right? Yeah. So just looking something interesting is popping on. Okay, then there are things like multitasking, like split views and stuff like that. Those are like certain advanced things you do first after understanding the basics, right? So what when it's split view, but something very important is, in general, if you look at this, let's say, look at this now. If you take an iPad, for sure you remember, right? iPad Pro, in portrait, you remember for sure it had a compact, it had a regular width, right? Look at 12.9 iPad Pro, 12.9 iPad Pro. See, it had regular width, right? But the same 12.9 iPad Pro, if the user is using in multitasking mode, right? Let's say if user runs in multitask configuration in a split view, right? Right, in a split view, say two-third of split view, even in this one, right, and one third, it says now the width is no longer regular because you are in a split view, right? So that means when it comes to same device, when it comes to different environments such as multitasking, once again, the size classes getting applied is different, right? So what happens now is, in this multitasking mode, 12.9 iPad Pro with a uh, two-third of split view, it will be using, in the portrait orientation, it will be using compact width, not the regular width. In that case, you have to make sure that you have given some constraints for this app to run on, when it's running on iPad, for it to get auto adjusted whenever it faces into a compact width situation, not the regular width, right? So you have to make sure you do. So how do you do this is what we are going to do in the practical, right? So wait for the practical to see how we do all these things, right? Then general layout considerations, right? So these are the general advice. Ensure the primary content is clear and at its default size. So make sure it's clear at its default size, right? People should not have to scroll horizontally to read important text, right? Right, see, very important, people should not have to scroll horizontally, right? So scrolling horizontally is not something, which is considered to be something good or something nice in a mobile or environment, right? So it's always scrolling vertically is fine, meaning, but scrolling horizontally is not accepted a lot, right? So people should not have to scroll horizontally, right? Or to zoom or to see the images, right? Unless they change to choose size, right? So the default, when they load the app, the default thing should be clear at its default size. Maintain an overall consistent appearance, right? And maintain, right? Use visual weight and balance to convey. So these are important, right? So large items catch eye and appear more important than smaller ones, right? So you have to make sure that you use them correctly. So alignment, scanning, I'm looking at whether what are the important points to discuss with you. Because, but I'm referring the Apple developer document. Why? So this is the core guide, guys. This is the core document, right? So rather than me teaching this with a slide, it's important for me to refer to the Apple developer document and take you through this journey in the Apple developer document, guys, right? And for you to feel it, right? That the Apple developer document has the facts, and that we have to get the facts from the Apple developer docs, because this channel is different, right? As you know, right? It makes you independent, right? It makes you ready for the industry. So that's why we do it this way, right? Using all developer guides and stuff like that, not just with the slides, because these are practical subjects. Practical subjects, no point of doing having a lot of slides, because a practical subject is very is a technical subject where lots of information is in the developer guides, right? In the programmers guides, right? So that's what we have to refer, right? That's what programmers are doing, right? So we are programmers, so we know how the industry works. So that's why we are delivering it this way to you guys, looking at this channel, right? So trust us, right? Trust us, and you will be a solid developer in a short time period. Okay, so if possible, it says support both portrait and landscape. These are the guidelines. Be prepared for text size. So lots of things, right? Lots of things, right? So there are lots of different things. We can look at them. We can revisit them one by one. Once we get the basic hang of it. Okay, and then the subheading adapting to changes in the context, maintain the focus on so these are things we will be visiting, once we get the overall thing sorted, right? So designing a full screen experience, extend visual elements to full. Yeah, that's right. So full screen options should be look nice, likewise. So these are the general guidelines, right? And additional layout considerations make your website looks, yeah, edge display, edge to edge, right? Likewise. Okay, so lots of things now. So with this, this is the first introduction of developing adaptive user interfaces, adaptivity and the layout. And I hope you guys enjoyed listening to this and understood the core concept of the certain core concepts of using adaptivity, and its layout and adaptive user interface. So this topic comes, and people call this as universal application design, or developers call this as adaptive user interfaces, or developing let's visit here, adaptive, making apps adaptive, all sorts of names are provided, right? So this is something very important for you guys to keep in mind. So moving forward, then the next sessions will be on doing how do you do this practically, right? And while we are doing practical exercises, we will also have to talk a little more about important theories, because there's few more to be covered as theory as well, right? And practicals. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and let's meet with so this is lesson 1, guys, and let's meet with the next lesson, right, in this. And until that, see you guys.